Music serves as a universal language that connects people on a profound, intangible level. But how do musicians do this? I'm Warren Buchholz, jazz brand manager at WUSF, and I'm on a mission to find out.
I know that I chose it, but I can't stand waking up, and nobody knows it. I'll never find the strength to change what I need. Is this who I'll always be?
Meet Amigo the Devil, a guitarist and singer-songwriter who is a master at murderfolk, which blends Southern Gothic, Americana, and folk with themes of the macabre. He has toured the country and has appeared at many festivals like the Mariposa Folk Festival, Riot Fest, and tons others. He's currently on tour and will be performing his solo show at the Floridian Social in St. Pete on Thursday, May 1st. I hope you enjoy our conversation with Amigo the Devil. It's a crisp 90 degrees here in Florida.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, as you are aware. I always like to start with these interviews. Who inspired you to want to get into music?
I guess the answer varies by day because I have different memories that I recall.
Yeah.
Some days it's just kind of been an instinctual. Actually, you know, the answer that I probably reference the most is that I wanted to fit into a friend circle in elementary school, I guess middle school maybe.
Okay.
And I met this group of guys that seemed really cool to me, and they had a little band.
What kind of music did they play?
Stupid little kid punk, you know? little baby kid punk.
There we go. There we go. You were born and raised in Miami.
I was. That was in Miami, and we used to. I lied about being able to play guitar, and they're like, "Oh, come play with us." I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then my cousin had given me a guitar that I had no idea how to use, so I learned how to play that pretty quickly. And growing up, I'd always been drawn to the music itself and noises and all that.
Yeah,
I just didn't realize that I was actually musically inclined, or whatever you want to call it. It made sense to me. Is what I mean. Not like.
Yeah, my parents bought me a piano as a keyboard as a kid, and there was one time when they tried to get me into a jam session, and I'm like, I don't really know how to play this, so I'm gonna make noise.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So your mom's Spanish and your father is Greek.
Yep.
How has this influenced your music?
Pretty heavily, to be honest. I mean, it's definitely something that over the years has crept its way into the influences subconsciously. I think initially when I was younger, I tried to veer away from everything my parents listened to or were culturally relevant. And then just as I got older, it honestly started to just be what made sense in my mind. So it's one of those just roots situations that completely take over the subconscious,
I feel that.
And now I regret not diving deeper when I was young. Like, I have memories of records that, my mom and dad listened to. And I just wish that I had embraced it a little more rather than be like, that's my dad's old music,
I have this visceral memory of my mom dancing in the living room to Tears for Fears. That was one of my Yeah. I am really interested with your musical journey, though. So you went to LA to make films.
Yeah, I failed at that. Within like 24 hours, I gave up.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, a lot of people. You got to, yeah, I feel you.
I just met like a few people and hated them so viscerally.
And then you got into culinary school, which ended up in the brewing program. Can you
Sure.
kind of talk about that? And it's how you performed and educated at the same time. What was that experience like?
Well, I stopped playing music for that period of my life.
Gotcha.
And I think that's why I ended up in the brewing industry, is because the culinary world was so focused on stress and was so just quick natured to completely disregard the human element because of how high paced it is and all that.
Yeah.
And, you know, good on anyone who has the heart and resilience to function in that world. I am a little too lazy for that.
My appreciation starts and ends with Top Chef. That's
Yeah. I don't know what it was. It just I wanted what you would consider a stable career, a real career that, you know, a grandfather could be proud of. And that was just kind of what made sense for some reason. It ended up being such a strange dynamic between convincing myself that I was still within a creative element, making beers, recipes, names, brands, whatever you want to
mhm.
dive into, and convincing myself that the stability of a single place every day was enough to satisfy me, which you know is not. And that's just an individual preference.
Yeah.
I enjoy the chaos of mobility and uncertainty, not so much knowing that I'm going to wake up and be at this place every single day with the same walls at the same time, same routine. And that's kind of what killed the creativity of brewing for me. I mean, alongside the industry changing as well, I didn't like how the industry was changing.
Moving to music was more authentic to you.
Going back to music, yeah, because I missed it. I missed it a lot, and it seemed like at the time I was still somewhat what you would consider, you know, young enough to try music, and
Mhm.
if it failed, I could just go back to a career.
Yeah, I mean you've had a growing career so far.
I'm very grateful for it. I'm genuinely so happy that things worked out the way they did, because
Yeah.
it wasn't even the goal. I'll be honest, the goal wasn't to make it work. The goal was to just have a good time.
I want to go back to, I was reading some of those letters you wrote on your website, and really the main theme that did pop out was authenticity. And I think you being authentic through your music, I think that's what kind of helped push you, basically, because there's not a lot of that in the industry anymore. And the music you put out really reflects that kind of personal experience.
Yeah, it is also a curse though, because with authenticity, there's a timestamp on everything that you do. Right. For example, I was uh, listening to some old songs with my partner yesterday, and we're kind of going through what I should play on the store. And I was asking her what she wanted or what she thought about certain old songs. And you know, it's funny to hear old songs, because as soon as I started playing them and kind of getting a refresher on them, dear God, just the timestamp of some really just not shameful, but just weak moments. You know, moments of, I mean, not even weak or broken, just like youth. There's some songs I wrote, you know, 10 years ago now that I thought were just great at the time, and then I hear them now, and I'm like, whoa, it's so childish. And that was only because I was trying to be my true authentic self. And my true authentic self at that time was someone that has clearly grown. So you can see the growth in the songs.
Yeah.
with me as a human, not the songs themselves, but
There's definitely a power to that, having recorded what you've recorded and being able to go back and seeing how much growth you've had. Yeah, that's definitely for me a powerful tool.
it's just shameful at points. It truly does like it really does create this ridiculous ugh.
What drew you into this Americana uh, gothic murder folk genre? What pulled you towards that?
I think a lot of it was the fact that I had no one to play with at the time that I was trying to revisit music.
Mm.
So it kind of just like I didn't know anything about that genre at all. I didn't grow up with it. I wasn't necessarily influenced by it. I just had the banjo, I had an acoustic. I was in my apartment just writing some songs for fun. They ended up being, singer-songwriter type things. And as I was showing people, those people would be like, "Oh, so are you a fan of this?" And I was like, "I have no idea what that is." And I'd listen to it, and then I'd be like, "Oh shit, I am a fan of that." So I kind of grew my knowledge of the genre as I was writing the songs.
How do you write a song? What's that process for you?
It used to be more straightforward, or so I thought. It used to be, an idea, a moment in time, and then I would kind of hyper focus on that idea, and I would explore it until the idea was finished. Nowadays, as soon as I hyper focus on anything, my brain goes, "Oh, you got to pay that bill. Oh, you have this appointment. Oh, you have this thing to do."
Yeah.
And the leniency of hyperfixation is not what it used to be. So now the disappointing answer is I have no idea yet. It just happens when it happens, and then I usually get through a third of a song or a little less than half of a song, and then I put it down. Then when it's time to write a record, I go, "Oh my god!" Then I have an anxiety attack, and then I hyperfixate on failing. And then that's about the main kickoff point. It's just a time crunch to get it done. Like I just have to get it done.
In a way, it's kind of become work rather than just being creative for you.
There's definitely the element of work. And that is just a sad reality of what becomes of anything you dedicate full time to.
Yeah.
But I would say it's more a realization. I mean, it's both positive and negative, to be honest, that I can't have an actual life, like a true, just a life,
Mm-hmm.
and focus entirely 24/7, fully immersed on my passion of songwriting.
Yeah.
Because I do have a passion for songwriting, but the amount of relationships and friendships and family that I've neglected and destroyed for the sake of the song is just unmanageable. And when I got, it got to the point where I was coming home and realizing, okay, I love touring, I love songwriting, I love my little studio space, I love writing, but Jesus Christ, do I feel alone? Even surrounded by amazing people, I feel alone because I haven't fed those relationships. I haven't nourished anything.
There's a push and a pull.
Yeah.
You really want to be creative and focus on that passion, but yeah, there's an entire world around you that also craves your attention as well. And it seems like finding that balance is really the only way to grow, not only as a creative but also as a human.
It's it's the question of if this goes away forever, just God forbid.
So would you say that your personal life has influenced your lyrics and your songwriting?
My emotional state has, my real life experiences, I would say, have not. So, for example, I'm able to implement how an emotion has felt in the past related to a different topic, but I'm not writing directly about I went to the store and this happened to me.
Yeah.
But I'm writing about somebody else going to the store and getting scared of something. And then I think back in my little catalog, my little reservoir, and I go, well, what did it feel like to be scared in a different moment? And I implement that emotion to whoever it is I'm trying to write about.
No, there's a lot of lyrics that really resonate. I not just with me, but I feel like your audience. I mean, one of my favorite album is Born Against, and I love the song Another Man's Grave. There's a great quote, I'll never find the strength to change what I need. And I feel like that can be reflective of so many things in our lives.
It is that doubt, you know, and then, again, that's one of those moments where you implement your experiences into an emotion rather than the chain of events. Because who cares about the chain of events?
We're going to take a break. We will be right back. Life can be noisy, so be sure to take a break with some jazz. Visit WUSFjazz.org to find local performances, jazz events near you, curated Spotify playlists, and a whole lot more. Don't stress out, listen to jazz at WUSFjazz.org.
Sat down to watch the
You've been doing a lot of festivals in the past few years, it seems.
I have, yeah.
Do you have a memorable experience that you could share?
I'll be honest, we tend to be a very lively group at festivals, not so much in the playing sense, but in the social. So whether I have memorable moments is, I'm sure I do. Do other people have memorable moments of us? Probably way more so. Because we are little gremlins. We get to a festival and we are just the camp that is that camp.
Yeah.
We are a fun time brigade.
What does behind the scenes look like for a festival? What's that set up like?
We're very social. It's like just seeing old friends. It's a big reunion for old friends, and essentially, think of a high school reunion, but every couple months. And since touring feels like it slows down time, while speeding it up, I guess a month on tour feels like a year in real life.
Oh wow!
Even though it feels like it only lasts a tiny little week at the end of it.
What would you say is the most challenging aspect of touring?
Giving up any reasonable social life. Missing out on experiences at home, not knowing what, restaurants are where and what drama your friends have and who moved on what. You have no reference to inside jokes. You have no reference to any social scale whatsoever that move forward without you while you're gone.
I see.
So it's basically just a readjustment period where you're always catching up to things and you always feel either left behind or out of the loop. And at the same rate, your entire life has been touring and just experience outside of that social etiquette. So all you have to talk about is the touring bullshit. And at that point, no one wants to fucking hang out with you because you have nothing to say. And no one wants to hear you say, I was in Fresno last, this happened for the 30th time, So it's social isolation on a pretty interesting front.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
The isolation of you're doing this cool thing, but at the same time, you're giving up so much for it. What are you hoping to do in the next couple of days before you go back out on the road?
I've been having a pretty good time here. Just getting ready for some remodeling of the house. My sweetheart and I, we've basically just been sleeping, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Watching TV, playing video games, just existing.
I feel that. I feel that. Any good TV shows?
I started season 3 of White Lotus,
Oh, that's a good one.
and yeah, I got sucked into that one pretty late.
Yeah.
It was like season 2 had already finished before I started watching it, and then I just kind of binged the first 2 seasons. That's another funny thing is, we talk about, oh, when we get home, we're just gonna lay down, watch TV, watch a movie, whatever, and that doesn't end up happening.
Mm.
You just lay there and kind of either disassociate or reassociate. It got to the point where I was watching a lot of reality TV because it was just numbing.
Oh, I see.
And then even that's gotten too stupid. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like Love is Blind, season 8 or whatever it is just terrible.
So, speaking of touring, let's briefly talk about your show coming up at the Floridian Social May 1st. What can people expect from the show? What emotions or messages do you hope people take away from it?
To be honest, especially with the solo show, all of those things are always dictated by the evening.
Okay.
I don't really write set lists for the solo tour. I don't plan banter. I don't plan jokes. I don't plan interactions. It's very much a mutual interaction between the showgoers and me, and it's that human element we're talking about, that honesty. Like if I'm in a bad mood that day, I'm very honest with people. I'll tell them, and we talk about it and we make jokes about it, and until everything's okay. The shows are a lot like old friends catching up.
That sounds very cool. I'm hoping one of these days, maybe even Thursday, to be able to come out and.
I hope you can make it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a great show. It's usually a solo show.
Yeah, I think anybody that expects a big production, or I guess the way I look at it is, if you want to hear the record, if you want to hear the songs on the record how they are, just listen to the record.
Listen to the record. Yeah,
that's it. The concept of live music, in my opinion, has always been to experience something that is a moment in time, not something that's planned with, confetti cannons and triggered, whatever. I'm not going to talk shit about anyone. But it just, how can you give anybody an experience that is unique to that moment?
Yeah.
It's all been planned.
That's true. That's true.
Like somebody going on a date with a script. Like, how are you going to find somebody you're attracted to or that you connect with if both of you are reading from a script? If the crowd knows exactly when they're supposed to cheer, and you know exactly when something is going to go off, and these big moments are manufactured, it's ridiculous. It's not real. What's the point of live music at that point? Call it theater.
And yeah, I mean, going to a show.
I got angry there. Oof. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right though. I mean, when you want to go to see a live show, like. It's kind of like improv almost in that respect of what you see is going to be the one and only time you're going to be experiencing this certain show. And there's definitely a magic that happens with something like that.
Yeah. And think about every moment that you can think of at a show you've been to that's memorable. And I'm sure it's mostly going to be moments where somebody messed up, or something funny happened, or something malfunctioned. People rarely talk about moments where everything went well. And that's the kind of thing where, even with performers, people get so down on themselves for forgetting lyrics or hitting the wrong note. Who cares?
I mean, it also must alleviate your mental health, anxiety, knowing that you can't screw up no matter what because it's not prefabricated. You're not supposed to hit the right notes each and every time in order for the audience to cheer and walk away with it. That must help.
Let's talk about something really, really silly and really funny. Anybody that plays music for a living and takes themselves that seriously is a silly little goose. You're playing music for a living.
Yeah.
That in itself is just a privilege in its own right. It's a really cool thing that we get to do. The whole concept of art as expression, as an escape, as a means of expression in the human element is genuinely created to show imperfections within the human mind. And then you express them in a way that takes them outside of the human body and the human realm. That's the escapism. So essentially, it's glorified dreaming, manufactured and glorified dreaming. How seriously can you take dreams? You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
So then why are we treating this like such a serious, just life or death situation? It's not. If you mess up, you messed up. That's it. Laugh it off.
No, and you know, with music, it's really an earthly kind of experience. I mean, it all goes back to, say, the heartbeats, the drum and the heartbeats into the earth itself. With, say, the instruments come from the earth, and so humans come from the earth. Basically, it's a personal experience that really shouldn't be taken seriously.
Exactly. I'm glad you agree.
But before we go, you just released a new album, yours Until the War is Over.
Yeah.
What would you say is next for you? What are you hoping to accomplish this year? Just
I want to find a treasure.
mm,
That'd be sick. But in real life, I am hoping to find some time to finish songs that I've been working on. There are some ideas that I've kind of been, not just in songs and music and records, but ideas thematically and conceptually to take, the Amigo project into a different little sphere so that there's more freedom within it also.
gotcha. You also do poetry, is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like anybody who writes lyrics kind of does poetry to some degree.
Very cool. I hope you are able to get some rest in the next couple of days before you start touring again. And it was really, really nice to talk to you. I really, really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate yours, and thank you for the great conversation.
But I'll just keep trying to hide it until there's nothing left to say. In the end, I know I'm gonna die, buried in another man's grave.
Hey, thanks for listening. Be sure to visit WUSFjazz.org to watch local jazz performances, find jazz events through Florida, listen to curated Spotify playlists, and a whole lot more. WUSFjazz.org. Today's audio was recorded over Zoom. Production assistance by Chandler Balcom. I'm Warren Buckholtz, host and editor. Studio Sessions Podcast is a product of WUSF and is sponsored by Community Foundation Tampa Bay, with support from the Palladium, the Gobia Foundation, and by you. Thank you for your support. Learn more about jazz and Art Sexes Florida by visiting our website at WUSFjazz.org. Copyright 2025 WUSF.